In 1808, some of the things that would have been occupying Littlehales in particular would have been things like the Catholic factions who had been promised Catholic emancipation as part of the Act of Union, and this had subsequently fallen through, so they're grappling with this new reality. You also have the Anglo-Irish gentry, who had been to some degree disenfranchised by the Act of Union, and were trying to find out where they fitted, both in Ireland but then also with the Westminster Parliament. Well, I suppose the main issue in Europe that everyone would be aware of is the Napoleonic Wars. And again, this has a fairly big impact on Ireland and on the government and the government in Dublin Castle, which Littlehales was involved in. So 1808 marks the beginning of the Peninsular War, which takes place in Portugal and Spain and runs for a number of years, ultimately concluding in 1814. The Peninsular War had a very big impact on Ireland because a huge amount of recruitment for the army, up to 40%, were Irishmen. Sir Edward Baker Littlehales, and he's born in London in 1764. He gets a good education in the Westminster School, and then he joins the army, and he spends about 20 years in the army. He's over in Canada, he's in Santo Domingo and other places. And then he comes to Ireland in 1798 and he works with Cornwallis, who's Commander-in-Chief and Lord Lieutenant at the time. And he forms a very strong connection with Cornwallis. And Cornwallis finishes up in early 1801, but Littlehales stays on and he becomes the military under-secretary in the government. So he leaves the army and becomes a kind of an early civil servant. Firstly, it makes the collections available on a truly global basis. You can view them to an extent no matter where you are, and this is absolutely imperative for us. And if you think about how many people might have an interest in the collections held in this library and this university, but who might never have the opportunity to come over to Ireland or to come to Maynooth, then the advantages of this become very apparent. Secondly, if you think about digital collections, you can think about added value, and indeed this project is a classic example of this. By including encoded transcription and links, the collection becomes a lot more dynamic, and it allows us to change the context of it slightly in a more virtual sense. And it shows that there's so much more we can do with the collection. And when you're talking about fragile or rare or unique materials such as Littlehales archive, we do want to obviously take care of it. We want it to be preserved. We want future generations to be able to use it for their own purposes. So the ability to conserve it and to remove it for conservation without overly disadvantaging our users is absolutely essential.